the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. Do I have talent, Daddy? Do I? Of course you do, son. But what could I be, Daddy? What could I be? Anything you want to be. Just remember what I'm telling you. Don't waste yours. Promise me. I promise, Daddy. I promise. I told you he didn't see anything. I did a good thing, right? That was a good thing, right? You did a good thing for a bad man, son. I did a good thing for a bad man. No! Sonny! Come on, son. Let's go home. Hi, this is Chazz Palminteri, and it's 11 o'clock on Monday. You know what that means? It's a new episode. And I am so excited because I've been waiting a year for this. Filming, editing, this has been going on for 1 year. But I got to tell you this, folks. John, we got to tell them. We got to tell everybody. Here we go. June 13th, DeNiro Con. This is right at the end of the Tribeca Film Festival. And right before DeNiro Con, June 13th, we have the original one-man show, A Bronx Tale, filmed. That's right. I directed this piece, A Bronx Tale, finally put it on film, and it's going to open up DeNiro Con. It's going to be June 13th at the Indeed Theater. That's Indeed, I-N-D-E-E-D Theater. Spring Studios. 7 p.m. 7 p.m. And I'm going to be there, and I'm going to do a Q&A right after the screening. John, that's pretty exciting when you say?
It's super exciting. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. I can't wait till everybody comes down and see it. In fact, we're going to talk about a few things on this episode about the soundtrack of the movie A Bronx Tale. But the original show, the one I did back in 1988, I filmed it, and I'm going to be showing it to you. The show that you see when you come and see me. John, if they want to come and see me live, where can they come, right? What do we got here?
Well, on May 18th, you're going to be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania at the American Music Theater.
Right.
May 31st, you're going to be in Ridgefield, Connecticut at the Ridgefield Playhouse.
Fantastic.
And then June 7th and June 9th, you're going to be in Beverly, Massachusetts at the Cobat Theater.
Cobat Theater. Let me tell you something. If you never saw the show, I play all 18 parts. We're very, very excited because finally it is there for posterity. We filmed it, and it's going to be showing at DeNiro Con, June 13th. For tickets, they could just call up, right?
No, they go to tribecafilm.com, or you can just type in DeNiro Con screenings on Google, and you'll find it right away. It says A Bronx Tale, the original one-man show. All
right. So, John, I'm very excited today because so many people talk about the soundtrack for Bronx Tale, the movie. So many things, the movie, the musical, but the movie, the soundtrack, people just love the soundtrack. So I am going to tell you right now how Bob and I picked the songs for the soundtrack and what went into that and how did we come up with that song. So, John, what is the first song?
First song is I Wonder Why by Dion and the Belmonts.
Dion and the Belmonts. Give us a little of that, John. Go ahead. The reason why, obviously, Belmont Avenue, right? We open up with the stickball game. It's Belmont Avenue. Dion and the Belmonts. I used to listen to them. I did. I feel like I'm doing something to play here. I used to hear them from my fifth floor window. They used to sing right down below. Dion and the Belmonts. And, I mean, it was their first hit. It was the late 50s. I think it was 58, if I'm not mistaken. And I just said, Bob, I think this would be a great song to open up the movie with. And obviously, Bob remembered it. He loved it. And, I mean, Dion and myself are really the only two people that became famous out of that neighborhood, really. And I just thought that this would be a great opening. And Bob loved it. We loved it. And that's why you see. And Bob's idea with the We had wop, 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 wop. Bob put it there. He matched it with the
Stickball players.
stickball plays. That was Bob's idea. And I thought it was just terrific. So that's the reason why. I wonder why it was the first song, because we thought it introduced the whole neighborhood, the group, Dion and the Belmonts, and it was the perfect spot for the perfect song. Okay, what's next, John?
Next one, we got Little Girl of Mine by the Cleftones.
Little Girl of Mine. Play a little bit of that. Yeah. Yeah, Bob and I both loved that song. We thought it'd be a fun song, and it just fit right in. If you remember, it's like kind of an up song. So you want some kind of like an up song for that moment, and we listened to so many songs, and we settled on that one because we thought it fit the moment. What's next, John?
Don't Know You by Della Reese.
Oh. Great song by Della Reese. The wise guys back then, that's what they listened to. Sinatra, Connie Francis, Della Reese. So, and I'm doing this by memory here. If I'm not mistaken, that's when Jimmy Whispers and Bobby Bars, they all walked into the bar, and it was kind of like, wow, these are the guys, and this is their music. And, Bob just felt that it just made a great opening for the Shea Joey, and it worked out really great for us.
Next up, we got Don't I Just Know It by Bobby Marchand.
Yeah, wow, this was a great song. We had a ball with this one. We wanted something fun for Phil the Peddler. When the kids came out and were running down, and teasing him, and I remember that Bob, he loved that song, and I thought it would just work great for it. It was funny what Bob said. He felt that even though we had all these different ethnic groups. There was the young kids, seeing his boys. There was the little guys when he was young. There was the wise guys. There was the black neighborhood, and he felt that each one of them had their own distinct sound and their own distinct songs and music. So he felt they were fighting each other, that the songs could be fighting each other. And when I first heard that, I said, wow, that's going to be strange. Bob, who was the director, was right. I thought it would just work great. So the little kids had their song. Wise guys, the rock groups. I mean, it was a pretty amazing thing. What's next, John?
Flamenco Sketches by Miles Davis.
Yeah, I remember this. Okay. Yeah. My father was a big Miles Davis fan. My father was a big jazz person. He loved jazz, my dad, and he used to have this little transistor radio on a hook by his ear while he was driving. And the jazz was like really low, and he would just listen to it, and he'd be driving and bopping, and I remember telling Bob that, and he said, "Well, why don't we put the Miles Davis song in that your father used to listen to?" And what was the name of that song again?
Flamenco Sketches.
Flamenco Sketches. And wow, when I thought it was great because it just reminded me, obviously, of my dad, and I used to sit behind him. That's why that song had a real good meaning to it. Yeah, go ahead.
For Your Precious Love by Jerry Butler.
Wow. I mean, come on. Listen to that song. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jerry Butler was the lead singer of the Drifters, the original Drifters. I hope I'm not wrong. If I am wrong, please send me a reply and tell me I'm wrong. But I thought he was the lead singer. There was romance in this movie between Lorenzo and Rosina. There was romance between C and Jane. And For Your Precious Love was just, it's hard that they don't write songs like that anymore, man. I mean, I know a lot of people love the movie, but pick up the soundtrack, man. It's crazy good, crazy good. What's next there, John?
Next one we got Ain't That a Kick in the Head, and that's by Dean Martin.
Oh, love this song. Listen to this. Yeah, we were listening to a lot of different songs, and Bob and I, we heard this tune and we loved it because how lucky could one guy be? This is when C is throwing the dice, you know, and he's screaming, yeah, yeah, the little kid. And it's just an up song, and it's a feeling of winning all this money. Eddie Mush is getting thrown in the bathroom. Jojo the Whale is getting thrown in the bathroom. Frankie Coffee Cake eventually gets thrown in the bathroom. So we thought Ain't That a Kick in the Head was just a perfect song for this moment. Yeah.
Ruby by Adam Wade.
Ruby. This was a great song to have in the club with the wise guys because it was kind of like the music they would listen to. It was just a wonderful tune. And it set the tone for the era and that time in the 50s and 60s. Okay?
A Beautiful Morning by the Rascals.
Yeah, okay. Oh, man, what a great tune. The reason why we wanted this was Bob and I talked, and we knew that we had to change some music because this was 1968 now. So it was 60, now it's 68. And one of the big, big groups, and especially 1968, were the Rascals. And I remember Bob directed the shot coming from the heavens, like the morning, and you'll hear this song coming in, and it just was great. What a beautiful morning. The kid is with Sonny. 8 years have gone by. Music trend is different. Sonny's different. The kid is different. And it set the whole thing up for the second part of the movie, 1968. And that's why the Rascals were chosen there.
Next up, we got Tell It Like It Is, Aaron Neville.
Yeah. You know what's funny about this tune? This is from the Young Club, the Deuces Wild. In the Deuces Wild, we used to listen to black music all the time. Ray Charles, the Drifters, Shirelles, Sam Cooke. So we used to listen to quite a bit of black music, R&B. If I remember correctly, it was, forgot the station, WBLS, I remember. Yeah, R&B, and this was one of the great songs we used to like. Okay.
Okay, so we got I Need Your Lovin' by Don Gardner and Dee Dee Ford.
I need your loving every day. Come on, listen to the soul on that, man. Wow, yeah. Again, setting the mood for the time. That's why we chose that one.
Next up, we got Busted Talk by Bobby Watson.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was with my dad, again, driving the bus, listening to his jazz. Try to pick some great jazz songs, you know.
Okay, next we got I Only Have Eyes for You by the Flamingos.
Wow, this song, it was very important to us because this is really when C sees Jane for the first time, you know. And we wanted it to be real special. And it's true, they only had eyes for each other. She was black, he was white, they didn't care. They just had eyes for each other. And this is one of the great love songs. I Only Have Eyes for You. Just, wow. I remember this song. This was on so many wedding lists, so many bridesmaids, so many brides and the future husbands picked this song. If you want to hear a great love song, I Only Have Eyes for You by the Flamingos. Great group, great. Okay.
Next up, 99 1/2 by Wilson Pickett.
Okay, wow. Play a little of that. This song, when I first heard this tune, you're not going to believe it. I heard this tune, obviously, in the 60s when it first came out. I sang back then, and I ended up singing this tune. The first time I heard it was with a group called The Wanted. A wonderful, they were like the biggest group in the tri-state area at the time. And I saw them at a at a place called the Office Lounge. That's actually where I got my start as a singer. That's the first time I sang on stage. You know the story, the little Jojo, the wise guy, asked me to sing with him. He said, look, why don't you go up and sing with the band? They didn't want me to sing. They didn't think it was professional. And Jojo said, if the kid don't sing, we throw the whole band in the street. So I got up there and I sang, and then the guy liked the way I sang, and I went back every week, and then I got my own band, and that's how my musical career started. But it's from 99 and a half. Wow, great song. And wait a minute. That's the first time we see the Black Neighborhood. So we wanted a song. We wanted to go from like I Only Have Eyes for You on the bus to 99 and a half by Wilson Pickett. There was a great record store called Cousin Records. It was on Fordham Road. And they used to play the music outside on the street. And everybody would stand in front of it and dance. It was a great time. But we wanted to introduce the Black Neighborhood for the song 99 and a half.
This is so interesting because I really see this song starting to fill like a story arc within the movie.
Yes.
It's really cool the way that it's structured. I never really paid attention to that. That's amazing. All right, well, the next song we got, When Joanna Loved Me by Tony Bennett.
Yes. This song is on The Wise Guy. Again, it was another one of those love songs. You had all these tough wise guys, and they loved these ballads, you know. They were like real saps for these ballads. And they would sing, drinking the Jack Daniels, When Joanna Loved Me, you know. And this was a mood setter to set the neighborhood and at the time, yeah.
Next up, Say It by John Coltrane.
This reminds me of my dad. This is the jazz. My dad loved. You see, my dad had his own music. Everybody had their own music. That's what made this. So, folks, when you hear the soundtrack, remember that each person, each group had their own music, and they were competing with each other as just as they were physically, they were doing it musically.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is the moment everybody's been waiting for, and this one's Come Together by the Beatles.
Wow, okay. Come Together by the Beatles. This was the first time a Beatles song was put in a movie. First time, John. I remember, I just thought it was like, it was kind of like, shum, dum, dum, dum. It was interesting, but it was a big hit. This was huge. The Beatles were huge back then. And we talked about it. I said, well, Bob, this is a great tune, but I don't know what it's going to cost. And I'll tell you a story behind this. Michael Jackson owned the rights to this song with Sony Music, I remember. And I got it. Wait a minute. I got to tell you this, folks, before I forget. Sony is the ones who did the movie music, who did the movie soundtrack. And the great Tommy Mottola was a huge, huge help in getting all these songs. Because I remember we wanted this, and when they got in touch with us, Tommy told us that it was $450,000 for 43 seconds. And Bob was like, whoa, wow. Is there anything we could do? And then they called Michael up, and we spoke to Tommy Mottola, and we got it for $250,000 for 43 seconds. But that's the big song when Now You Can't Leave. I always think of that. And a lot of people think of that when Now You Can't Leave.
I love it. It's synonymous with that.
Yeah.
Next one we got are the 10 Commandments of Love by the Moonglows.
Okay, this is a great story about how we picked 10 Commandments of Love. Originally, this is, again, Now You Can't Leave, another big bar fight, right? The original song we had was Born to Be Wild. Remember that song? Born to be wild, let your motor run. And it's about guys on a motorcycle. It would, and we all liked it. And then Bob said, well, maybe it's a little too on the nose. Maybe we should try to find something else. And him and I talked, and we said, well, why don't we go complete opposite and talk about love and wonderful things? And we came up with the 10 Commandments of Love.
It's brilliant.
And it just worked out great. Jojo grabs him, hits the jukebox, and grabs one of the bikers, and the 10 Commandments of Love, talking about we shall always love each other. Bam, bats and things going over the head, pistol whips. I mean, it was crazy, but it worked out really great.
Next up, To Be With You by Joe Cuba.
Yeah. To Be With You. Yeah, this song, another just great love song, and we thought it'd be a great song for C and Jane.
Here we go. We got Baby I Need Your Lovin' by Four Tops.
This was always one of my favorite songs. I mean, I grew up with this song, and I just loved it. And I thought when Bob shot that beautiful shot of the kid coming over the hill with the car, with his car, with Sonny's car, that it had to have some kind of like happiness to it. He's got his car, and he's going to see this girl for the first time. Baby, I need your loving. Baby, I want your loving. So it just worked out. It worked out great. That song really fits there great.
This is another good one. You Really Got Me by the Kinks.
Yes. Yeah. Ah. You really got me going. Oh. Again, 1968, this is one of the classic rock songs from that time. But it also created like violence too. It had a feeling of da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So we really wanted that to really get the energy up at this time. Because don't forget, right after he goes to pick up Jane, she tells him about they beat up her brother, and the mood of the movie takes a very ominous turn. So we just thought that would really lend itself to it.
How about All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix?
Oh, what's funny thing about Bob Dylan, he said, I didn't write All Along the Watchtower. He goes, but he did write it, of course. He goes, but forget my version. Jimi Hendrix's version is the classic standard. Oh, yeah. And we wanted that because we were young. We would listen to rock. We listened to Jimi Hendrix. So I wanted something violent. When they come up for C, they go, get in the car. What's going on? Get in the car. Come on. And this is great. And so, and the solo, this was violent. All Along the Watchtower, Preacher. I mean, it was great lyrics. And then we follow them because it was playing on the radio. They go, come on, get in. We borrow the car. And I wanted something big and violent and rocky for the times. And that's how we came up with this one.
I didn't know that about this song.
I mean, Bob Dylan wrote it, but people go, oh, Jimi Hendrix wrote that. He goes, no, Bob Dylan wrote it.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
You thought he wrote it?
I did. I really did.
It's great.
Next one we got, I'm So Proud by The Impressions.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm so proud. Curtis Mayfield. Man, I mean, that is... Well, I'm so proud. Now, she realizes that he didn't beat up her brother. He tried to help him. Her brother told Jane the truth, that C really tried to help him. So she finds him in the neighborhood. He meets her. They look at each other. He holds her, and he looks at her, and he's saying to her, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud. And she's saying to him, I'm proud of you. Forget about black and white. Forget about all the colors. This is like, we care about each other. I thought it was a very romantic song for the moment.
Next up, Strange Brew by Cream.
Yeah. Again, this was the song that Bob and I chose a great rock song, violence. Like I said, the second half of this movie, it's like you're on a freight train. They're listening to Strange Brew on their way to blow up the club, the black club in the neighborhood. And it was just a type of song that just kept the feeling, kept the mood up.
How about this one? It's a man's world
Right.
by James Brown.
Right. Again, see, here's where Bob, I have to say, Bob was so brilliant in doing this. Strange Brew with the kids in the car. And then they jump out of the car, they get to the black neighborhood. It's a man's world. And that's their song. So Strange Brew competing with It's a Man's World. It's a man's world. It's like these guys who think they're men. These kids who are saying we're men and we're throwing like these bombs through a window. And the black gang saying, no, it's our world. It's a man's world. It's our world. We're the men. So it's these guys just fighting each other for control. And but it was, if you look at both songs together, it just made a perfect match.
Next up, we got Cristo Redentor with by Donald Byrd.
This song here, I'll tell you where this song came from. I was, I don't know, I was pretty young. It was 1968. And I met a girl who lived in Brooklyn, New York. A gorgeous girl, really, and a wonderful, wonderful girl. A redhead. She had red hair, and should I mention her name? Nothing wrong with that.
I think you're okay with that.
Yeah, she's married now and got kids. Her name was Karen Battetti. Yeah, really a great girl. Wonderful and beautiful, too. Just gorgeous. But, you know, when you're kids, you date, and then who knows whatever happens. But I was coming home from her house. She lived in Brooklyn. And I was on the BQE. And there's always traffic on the BQE. I never told this story to anyone, in fact. I told it to Bob. That's who I told it to. And it was on the BQE. And and all of a sudden, all the cars, they stopped, slowed down. And everybody was just going really slow. And the music and the windshield wipers were going, doom, 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 you know, and it was raining, pouring. And all of a sudden I said, what the hell is going, and I'm stuck in traffic I'm telling you, for 15 minutes. And then finally we get up close to the accident, right? I never told you this, John.
I never
We
heard
get
of
up close to there's a car turned over on its hood, turned over. And there's a girl, now I got music on the radio. I got this song, music on the radio. It's like a jazz song. And I'm listening to this song while I'm driving slow, and we're crawling, and I look and I see this girl yelling underneath the car, Johnny, help him. And they got the jaws of life, and they're trying to do something with the doors. They grabbed this guy. He was underneath the car. And this song was on. Da, da, da. And I said, holy shit, this is like a soundtrack to this incident. And I never forgot that. And when we were looking for a song, when the boys were dead in the car, that came in my mind, and I went, Cristo Redentor, Donald Byrd. And it worked great.
Oh, that gave me goosebumps. That had a sentimental meaning to it.
Yeah, wow. It had a real meaning to me.
All right, well, there's so many good songs on the soundtrack. We got another one. It's called That's Life by Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how can you not have Frank in here? The greatest of all time. We wanted something that the guys would be playing that was happy, but was also meaningful. So the older boy runs back to the neighborhood, busts through the door, and he sees Sonny. And we wanted, Sonny, you know, you want him yelling. And We thought Frank Sinatra song, That's Life, That's Life, that's where all the people play. Shot down in April, so we just thought that would be great. Was that it?
That's it.
Wow. So folks, that's the Bronx Tale. That's the soundtrack of A Bronx Tale, and how kind of Bob and I, we picked all the songs to that. So
are any of these songs going to be in the new recording of a one-man show?
yes. Well, if you saw the original one-man show, a bunch of these songs are in that. Not many, just a few. But I want to thank so many people. I want to thank Sony Records. I want to thank Tommy Mottola, who is obviously the CEO and president, and who put this and produced this soundtrack. What a great soundtrack, Tommy. Again, I want to thank Bob DeNiro with his great insight and his just constant professionalism, wanting everything perfect, and his brilliant ideas about having all the music fight each other. I thought that was just a brilliant idea. Thank you so much. And this was great. I mean, I can't believe we just did this, So God bless you. If you have anything you want to know about the soundtrack, just send me you know how to get me, Chazz Palminteri Show at gmail.com.
Or leave comments.
Or leave comments. You can leave comments here if you want to know about anything about the music. Don't forget now. Let's talk about it, John. June 13th. Okay, DeNiro Con. This will be the first movie at DeNiro Con, right in between the Tribeca Film Festival and DeNiro Con. There's one day, June 13th. It's going to be the original one-man show, filmed, written and directed by myself. I'm very proud of it. Come to see it. It's the world premiere of a new film, the original one-man show. It's going to be at the Indeed Theater, INDEED Theater. That's at Spring Studios in Manhattan, New York. I will be there. A few other people will be there. And we will be doing a Q&A after the screening. God bless you, and I'll see you then.